right, once again, greetings. Gleekon here again with another episode. In fact, our last episode of the third chapter of the second volume of Chronicles, and our last incident here on Draenor when there are only 2 years left before the Dark Horde portal. This episode is called The Long Silence, so stay a while and listen to this one. Let's find out what happens. Hopefully the Long Silence is a period of peace, but it can't be that long because the Dark Portal is going to be popping up in a couple years. During the attack on Shatrath, Kil'jaeden met with Sargeras and informed him of the orcs and his work corrupting them. The Legion's ruler was pleased by what he learned. The orcs were an unstoppable force infused with demon blood and loyal to the Legion. Yet they were more than just another race conscripted into his army. Sargeras had been searching for the right weapon to weaken Azeroth's defenses in preparation for a full-scale Legion invasion. The Horde would serve as the perfect tool to do so. Sargeras ordered Kil'jaeden to cut all communication with his agent Gul'dan and the other orcs. They were flush with victory, and that made them arrogant and unruly. Sargeras wanted the orcs to be on the brink of self-destruction, so desperate that they would embark on any quest if it meant saving themselves, so desperate that they would journey to another world. Unaware of the Legion's plans, the orcs floundered on Draenor. They had conquered much of the world, but they were killing it in the process. Fell magic had transformed most of Draenor into a barren desert. Nowhere was this more apparent than in Tanaan Jungle. The region was now a cracked wasteland of red dust and bones. It became known as Hellfire Peninsula, and the Horde capital at its western edge was renamed Hellfire Citadel. And so the silence that we're talking about here is the silence of, like, they've been ghosted by Kil'jaeden and the Burning Legion, and now they're just like, well, we did what you wanted, but that's purposeful. They're stringing them along so that they'll be ready to go attack Azeroth. Warchief Blackhand knew that eventually the Horde would run out of water and food. He turned to Gul'dan for answers and demanded to know what orders Kil'jaeden had given him. Surely the great benefactor had foreseen these events and would propose a solution. Blackhand didn't know the terrible truth. Kil'jaeden had stopped communing with Gul'dan. The Demon Lord's silence had come suddenly and without warning. Panic and paranoia had seized Gul'dan. Kil'jaeden had promised him godhood if he destroyed the Draenei, and the Orc Warlock had delivered his end of the bargain. Bitterness and anger consumed Gul'dan. He wondered if the Demon Lord had merely used him and the Orcs as pawns to exterminate the Draenei. Gul'dan kept this development a secret from Blackhand. The Warlock's connection with Kil'jaeden gave him influence. If Blackhand knew Gul'dan was no longer communing with the benefactor, he would see it as a weakness and kill Gul'dan. For now, Gul'dan convinced Blackhand to wait while Kil'jaeden chose their path forward. In the year that followed, hunger took its toll on the orcs. They hunted most of Draenor's native creatures to extinction. The Dragon Maw turned on their trained Rylax and used them as a source of food, and the Warsong Raiders did the same to their wolf mounts. So this is why there's little to no wolves. I feel like there are some wolves left, but there's little, and there are no Rylax at all in this timeline. The threat of starvation only made the orcs more agitated and aggressive. Bloodlust still seared through their veins, but they had no other foe to fight. Many orcs turned on each other. They clashed in short-lived battles that left hundreds dead. The Lightning's Blade, White Claw, and Redwalker clans suffered greatly in these conflicts, which is why they pretty much don't exist. I was going to say, that's why you haven't heard of White Claw, Lightning's Blade, and Redwalker clans. Some clans lost themselves completely to the depths of madness. These included the War Songs, the Bone Chewers, the Laughing Skull, the Shattered Hand, and the Thunderlords. I feel like some of those are used, though, in Warcraft. So, curious. To protect the rest of the Horde from these... Oh, that's why. They are the crazy ones that still exist on Burning Crusade. To protect the rest of the Horde from these violent clans, Blackhand banished them from Hellfire Citadel. He drove these belligerent orcs into remote areas of Hellfire Peninsula where they could fight amongst themselves. That way Blackhand could preserve some of the Horde's dwindling strength. But Blackhand and Gul'dan knew this was only a temporary solution to a much greater problem. Unless something changed, the Horde would devour itself. From afar, Sargeras watched the orcs spiral into uncertainty. Soon enough, they would find salvation. He had corrupted a vessel on Azeroth, an extraordinary individual whom he could use to launch the Horde's invasion of the world. This vessel was a human named Medivh, one of the most powerful magi in history. Okay, so we've now set up to cross back over, catch us up with what's happening with Medivh, and find out how this is going to all culminate in what we know is the dark portal. What we don't know is, how does Frostfire melt unless that's just assumed it's happening? And I feel like you could write off, how does this whole place get ripped up and put into space unless that happens during the creation of the dark portal? All right, I can't wait to find out with you on these next episodes of Lore of Warcraft. This one's in the pipe, 5x5.